Hey guys! Happy Sunday, it's story time. Let's get started. If you've met me in person, you probably know that I can be a pretty shy and quiet person, especially in large groups of people or when I just don't know anyone that well or whatever. And I'm usually pretty nice. I don't hurting other people's feelings. I don't know if anyone actually likes hurting other people's feelings, but I'm super terrified of hurting other people's feelings. And so I'm usually pretty nice. But all of that gets thrown to the side when an opportunity to be funny arises. It's then I stop thinking and I just joke. Let me tell you one of the very few stories of me being a mean girl in high school. It was my senior year, and for the first time, I had more friends than I could count on one hand. It was also the second semester of senior year, and I was really coming out of my shell. Since I spent 4 years there, I was finally comfortable. That semester, I had one blowout class. Most of my classes were IB and college credit courses, and they involved a lot of work, and it was hard, and I had this one blow-off elective. And I had one friend in that class, Maddie. Maddie is one of the coolest people I've ever met, and unfortunately, it wasn't until our senior year of high school that we actually became friends. So, in part, I was still in the impress Maddie mindset. But then also, Maddie's just someone that I think I've always felt really comfortable around. So, I think all of that together created the perfect storm for this story. So, there was a girl. I don't remember her name, but she was a few years younger than Maddie and I, and she was in this class with us. She could be loud and rude and was always making not actually funny, inappropriate comments. And just in general, the class was pretty quiet. Everyone would be talking to one another because you were just working on projects the whole time. Everyone would be talking, but they'd be talking pretty quietly. And she would be speaking 4 or 5 octaves louder. And I think part of the problem was just that we were all in high school. So she was probably putting on kind of an act for everyone. And she probably wasn't all that comfortable in her own skin yet. And we were pretty unforgiving of our peers. This one day, she gets up from her chair and trips in the middle of class. She didn't just trip, though. She made a scene of it. A person can trip, stand up, dust themselves off, and say, I'm all right, or if a person's seriously hurt, then they can lay on the floor and be like, hey, I'm seriously hurt, can you help me? And maybe some people will laugh, hopefully if it's the first scenario and not the second. But it won't really be that big of a disruption, because it's sometimes people fall down, But she falls down with a thud, and then she howls laughter, and she stays on the floor for a bit. And when she finally gets up, I look at Maddie and say, you're a bad person if that made your day. And Maddie goes, well, darn, guess I'm a bad person then. And we both laughed because it was just a joke, and it was a joke between the two of us. Fast forward a couple of days, Maddie and I were sitting in class, and this girl walks directly up to us, and can I talk to you? Me? Yeah. Sure. Okay, if you have a problem with me, you should say it to my face instead of talking about it behind my back. Okay. The other day when I tripped and you said it made your day. Oh, okay. And then the girl walks away really proudly, like she'd just taken down Regina George. And after a moment or so of sitting in silence, I say to Maddie, thanks for not telling her that was my joke. And I'm still really thankful for that. I mean, that girl wasn't there when the joke was told, and she only knew about it from several accounts of secondhand hearsay. And I do feel kind of bad that she thought the joke was, like, at her expense, when in reality, it was kind of at Maddie's. And it was also, like, just to kind of break the tension after this girl fell. So, like, when I said it, I wasn't really trying to make fun of her. It was just a joke, you know? But in that moment, I was pretty terrified of that 15-year-old girl's righteous fury